Welcome. So, today I want to explore the topic of what is spirituality? What is the big deal with this spiritual realm? Um, Recently I heard Jim Carrey talk about how all spiritual traditions, all wisdom traditions are there primarily to help alleviate suffering. Um, and suffering, as we all know, can come in so many ways. Um, I think, a sense of meaningfulness to our lives is important. We are meaning-making machines, and we feed on meaning. We want our lives to have meaning and purpose. And when we feel out of alignment with what we're doing with our lives, and we feel this emptiness, this void, this lack of meaning, that's a form of suffering. And so I think spirituality as a concept is kind of just another way of saying I'm open to mystery. Things are mysterious in this universe, and I know like 0.0099999% of what's going on, why we're here. All I have is a big question mark in terms of a lot. In terms of the big existential questions. I mean, is there a God? I don't know. I'm pretty sure something created my hand, some intelligent design created, birthed my hand, birthed your hand, birthed your head, birthed brain, birthed consciousness. So here we are in these flesh suits that work somehow, and no one really knows where we came from or where we're going or what the purpose of this life is. No one can really say for sure. So spirituality is another way of saying mysteriousness. And spirituality is perhaps the intentional commitment to the path of asking the questions and trying to embody the answers, to be the change, to be the solution. A word on suffering. So, in my experience, as a human being of 38 years old, there's an aspect of life that involves suffering. Part of my human experience has involved darkness and emptiness and purposelessness and a feeling of meaninglessness. That's an aspect of life. And sometimes that emptiness, that mystery is painful and it causes suffering because I feel confused, feel like I have no purpose, no sense of direction. What does this all mean anyway? I'm a little freaking ant of a billion other ants on this magnificent mound of earth. And even if I were to make the biggest impact on humanity for the better, and even if I left a legacy on this planet, would it really ultimately matter? I sometimes like to think so, because it makes me feel purposeful. Other times, I don't really care. And so there's that sense of, if it doesn't ultimately matter, then why don't I make the creator blush by enjoying her creation, by enjoying creation? Yes, part of life involves suffering. That's been my experience. But do we have to suffer to prove that we're alive, to prove that we're worthy? No. that's a way of thinking, a way of believing, a way of living in a belief that I don't align with. I've lived a lot of my life feeling like unless I'm suffering, then I'm of no value. I'm of no worth. I have no proof of growth. And that's just a belief. And I don't want to play with that belief anymore. That illusion sucks. And it's probably been about 3 or 4 years since I've consciously become aware of this shame, guilt, toxic, stinking thinking programming that I was born into, that I agreed to, that I chose, that unconsciously motivates me. A sort of quiet despair that's just there. But in the last, especially 4 years, I've decided to purge that programming, to not choose it, and to commit to honoring my joy, honoring my heart, honoring what makes me come alive. Because when I choose that, I thrive. There's a vitality in my being when I choose what I love and what calls me forward. And even if there isn't some container or some school or some certification I can get for what brings me joy, fuck it. I'm still going to believe in me. I'm still going to believe in that which calls me forward in life. And since I've done that, there's been so much more joy and light and hope and faith and alignment and groundedness because I'm actually doing what I want to be doing. Go figure. So, spirituality and this spiritual path, this spiritual quest that many of us are on, I think is another way of saying, look, I know some stuff, but I know like 0.009999% of what's actually going on here. I know that there are dimensions upon temples, upon temples, upon experience of limitlessness that's available to me. And thank you, Creator, thank you, life, because I've experienced some wonderful knowing. I've been able to go to heaven realms that were just bliss upon bucket loads of love sauce and just okayness and peace in my body and just total humble humiliation to my faithful servant, the ego. Because sometimes when you're humbled, it's humiliating. But lately, I've been so deliciously humiliated, the ego, the servant of my life force here, because I realize that ego a lot of times has been serving this agenda of pretending it knows exactly what's going on. And when it's playing that game, it loses all the time. So when I'm humiliated, and it's like, you don't know shit, actually. Like, you know a little bit, and all you need to know is enough. But ultimately, there are dimensions upon dimensions that you could never even imagine. And accepting that, when the ego is like, oh, okay, cool. So I don't have to pretend that I know everything, and I don't have to close my consciousness down to some little formula fantasy box and just blind myself to the rest of that. It's okay. I can be humbled, be a little ant, do the things that give me joy, sustain myself as best as I can, love others as best as I can, and the rest blessed. Like, it's okay. That's okay. I can enjoy myself here. I can take the weight of the world off of my shoulders. That's okay. Like, do I have permission to shine in that way? You have permission to shine in that way. And you also have permission to play in this magnificent, infinite, limitless womb that is Mother Earth. You have permission to play. Earth is a playground full of brothers and sisters and bottomless possibility. Create whatever beliefs you want. No one's going to force help on you. No one's going to force you to believe anything you don't want to believe. Believe what you want. And I say believe in beliefs that you want to live in, that you want to be live in. And anything in the way, whether it's like past lifetime karma, whether it's your parents, whether blame game, whatever, society, the matrix, the archons, the 1%, whatever. If you want to get lost in that blame game stuff, by all means. And then there's karma, there's like obstacles that just seem to be in the way that were there from the beginning. Well, what I say is love all of that shit to death. Just love it all. It's an aspect of your humanity. Darth Vader needs the most love. And there is a Darth Vader in each one of us. There is confusion, there's darkness, there's lack of self-love, there's pain, there's incomplete wounds. That's just truth. And rather than entangle ourselves in dualistic separation and say, I'm not Darth Vader, I am only light, I am only joy, I am never again depression or sadness. You're tangled up. You're in dualistic, separate-based entanglement. So I say, you are all of it and love all of it to death. Love all of it to love it all back to wholeness. And realize that in this 3D dimension that we're in, this human flesh suit, in this experience now, we've been given some obstacles and some densities to love, to alchemize, to just be with. And I gotta say, for me, is for so long I was in this depressed, sad, poverty of soul place that to get myself out, I had to create this program of only joy, like only light, because I was afraid that if I held space for any of these dark guests, that I would die. That's not the case anymore. So I realized this kind of dysfunctional, I'm like divorced to myself, meaning that like I won't hold space for any of the emptiness, the darkness, the meaningless, the hopelessness, and I like fervently cling to meaningfulness. And that's fucking exhausting. So at this point, for me, spirituality and where I'm at on the path and where I invite you to be is to find peace in your body, to do any practices, anything that gives you joy that will have you be here grounded in your wholeness. And that you learn how to hold space for the emptiness and the fullness, the hopefulness and the hopelessness, the darkness and the lightness, the sickness and the vitality, the addiction and the connection. To be able to hold space for all of it within yourself, marry yourself, the divine union of the masculine and the feminine, the positive, the negative, the light, the dark, within yourself. And this is where I'm at, and where I see a lot of beings going, and where I see beings that are mentors that I find on YouTube or in books or on retreats that have taken a couple steps in this certain direction that I want to go in. So I think that's all I got for now. I would just say, just bow to your heart. There is a gut instinct knowing available to us. This age of information, no, now it can be the age of knowing. We have all the records of all ancient ancestral times going back to Egypt and beyond, pre-Egypt. We have access to the entire universe. The entire universe realized in your eyes is available to you, is available to us as a collective. So just bow to yourself and choose highest vitality as best as you can. And then when you can't, choose highest compassion. And when you can't choose highest compassion, just hug yourself and love yourself and go to yoga and get a green juice and be around your tribe. And if you can't find your tribe, find them and then tribe harder. It's okay to be okay. It's okay that there isn't a problem. It's okay. You can rest. Bless. I want to show you where I am because this is heaven on earth for me. This is by the village of Paru Paru, way up in the Andes Mountains of Peru. And this is the biggest, most glorious place I've ever been to, and also the place of the most stillness. It's huge, yet so still. And we have this space, this soul space inside of us that we are. It's available to us. I think that's all I have for now. Also, this age of understanding is beautiful. Understanding is great. Sometimes understanding is the like side prize, like second or third place. Knowing, honoring your gut instinct, your inner barometer, the compass that is your body, the spaceship that is your body that will tell you what the next steps are. If you can just be in there, if you can just ground into it. Distractions abound. Entertainment abounds. And I think the greatest source of entertainment is ourselves, the projection that we are. We are projecting meaning and making meaning and splattering that all over life. Hopefully you're enjoying the meaning you're making. You believe in it, you align with it, and hopefully it's having a good impact on others. And if it's not, it's okay, just do what you can. If all you can do is take a couple steps out of bed in the morning, bless, that's where you are. If you're called to make a global planetary movement and change, and that's your calling, well, bow to that destiny. Today is 8/8/2018, the Lionsgate portal. What that means to me is just another opportunity to celebrate life and to connect with destiny, with your highest timeline. So I am seeding my highest timeline in terms of flow, activated art, and spirit quest, creating and holding the space for adventure, play, creativity, and transformation in community. And I am seeding, continuing to seed, continuing to water, continuing to cultivate those timelines because it's my destiny. In a way, I don't have a choice. In another way, I could choose a lower vibration if I want, but why would I do that if why would I consciously choose to suffer more if I don't have to? And so is there a God? I guess I can't say for sure. I believe in life. I believe in my experience. I just like look at my hands and say, whoa, like who the fuck designed this flesh bot, this temple vessel, this flesh machine? Like who did that? I don't know, but maybe the highest thing we can aspire to in this spiritual mystery path is awe and wonder. Maybe that's as high as it goes because it's just open. It's open. It's open. So I'm sending you Much love, much light. I am light. You are light. You are love. I am love. I be that. I choose that. I share that with you. It gives me meaning to share all of this with you. And I hope that you enjoy it. And if you don't, I bless your experience. Amen. A women, all love. Blessed be.